Good Monday morning and welcome to Wrestle Talk. It's Monday, April 29th at 12:32 a.m. and you're listening to a Rabid Beaver on Wrestle Talk with a Rabid Beaver. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day out there today. I mean, we've got a great show planned out for you guys. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about, a bunch of stuff to go through, a bunch of stuff to be on the lookout for. So according to WrestlingIncorporated.com is where we're going to be taking our news and stuff from today, and also catching from the National Wrestling Alliance page directly to be promoting their shows, and actually got the chance to speak to none other than Mr. Joe Casena himself from JCP Southeast, and it was a great conversation we had at Harriman Heat too. And man, I got to tell you, he is all fired up directly about what's going on here in the next couple of weeks at Showdown at Sunbright that's going to be taking place, and then back to the territories that's going to be happening June 1st in Knoxville as well. May 10th is going to be the Showdown in Sunbright, Tennessee at Sunbright High School. You guys can call and pre-order your tickets now for that, or you can go in and just get general admission tickets, or if they've got any ringside seats available, you can get them the day of the show directly there on site. So it'd be something great for you guys to do. And then also at Carnes High School, like I said, June 1st, back to the territories. There's going to be some awesome stuff happening there and taking place there. But let's start off on the draft. So what did you guys think about the draft? Let's just talk about it. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on with the WWE draft that's been taking place here recently. And man, I got to admit, Roman Reigns backing out of the draft directly, whether it was due to health or due to unforeseen circumstances, is yet to be seen. So we've got to talk about that. We want to make sure, you know, that if anything's going on with him, we want to tell him here at Wrestle Talk that our hearts, our minds, our thoughts, everything are with you directly. Roman Reigns. I'm not a huge fan of yours. I just have to be honest with you. I didn't like the whole bloodline thing. I think it was really played out, overplayed, way too overplayed. But I have to give the devil credit where the devil is due there. And he definitely did a great job for the WWE, carrying them into that next little zone. And the money speaks for itself. The money that was made directly by him for this company was amazing. So, the night one of the draft, I mean, we've got to talk about each and everything that's happened. SmackDown took Bianca Belair, Carmelo Hayes, Randy Orton, Nia Jax, LA Knight, The Bloodline, AJ Styles, Andrade got taken. Raw got Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Liv Morgan, Ricochet, Sheamus, Alpha Academy, and Kiana James there. There were more wrestlers eligible to be drafted here, but weren't. That list includes the Alba Fry and Isa Dawn, Cedric Alexander and Ashanti, the Adonis. Ivar was definitely on that list of people that could have been. Shayna Baszler was one of those people. The OCs, Luke Gallows, Carl and Anderson, and Mission were definitely not taken. Zoe Stark was one of those people that wasn't taken as well. So, you know, that was just night one's episode of it. So you got to look at it from that standpoint of there's a lot that was going down in the draft directly from those results. So the draft picks that came through, directly should have been a little bit better. AJ Styles is still one of those people that people are looking for and looking to see if it's going to happen, if it's going to take place. You know, round two, like I said, was there. It was there. It was taken away. I think Raw took Ricochet as well. Sheamus, I think Raw took Sheamus as well. AJ Styles was taken in round 4, which was really a very big surprise for him. Alpha Academy was taken in round 4 with Chad Gable, Otis, and Tazana, Maxine Dupree, and all them. Kiana James was taken at that point in time. As announced on social media Friday night, SmackDown took the OC, Baron Corbin, Cedric Alexander. So they ended up getting drafted Friday. So I'm a little bit behind on my news. I do apologize about that. Zoe Stark got taken, Alba Fry got taken, Isa Dawn got taken, and Ivar got taken to Raw. So Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Alba Fry, Ivar, all Raw. SmackDown, Cedric Alexander, SmackDown, Baron Corbin, SmackDown, the OC got taken. Raw got Kiana James. SmackDown got Andrade. Raw got Alpha Academy. You know, all three of those. SmackDown got AJ Styles in round 4. Raw got Sheamus in round 3. SmackDown got the Bloodline. Raw got Ricochet. SmackDown got LA Knight. Raw chose Liv Morgan, which I think Liv Morgan was a sleeper in this draft to be drafted as early as she was. And it's definitely a big thing for her to be put in this draft that high. SmackDown got Nia Jax. Raw got Braun Breaker. SmackDown got Randy Orton. Raw got Seth freaking Rollins. SmackDown got Carmella Hayes. Raw got Jey Uso. SmackDown got Bianca Belair in the first round. So, I mean, it was definitely a sight to see. And there's a bunch of people who got released from WWE just a couple days prior to the draft actually happening and taking place and going on. And it was definitely something that shouldn't have happened. But, speaking of one of those people that got released, Jinder Mahal was actually on WrestlingIncorporated.com talking about how much of a blessing it was for him to absolutely get released by WWE when he did. And that was done by Julian D'Alessandro is who that was done by. It says former WWE star Jinder Mahal has shared his experiences of being let go in 2024 after his stint with the 3MB faction alongside with Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater. So that's absolutely true. He did get released there. Looking back on being released was probably the best thing that happened to me. In all fairness, I wouldn't have gotten as motivated or changed my mindset as much because getting released, like you reflect, getting that second opportunity, having that appreciation for the second run. I had become complacent when I was in 3MB, just phoning it up, not putting in the best effort, which was absolutely wrong, especially in WWE, because you can't take this career or time in WWE for granted. Van Violet also pointed out that Mahal, how impressive it was to watch him both and McIntyre reinvent themselves after being in their three-man band faction. The modern-day Maharaja provided his thoughts on how rewarding it was to watch a friend like McIntyre succeed in WWE today. I'm going to stop here in this article, and I'm just going to say, well, I think that he actually had a great success in his secondary run as well, also in his first run that he did with 3MB. And, I think that it was bad creative, first of all. Let's talk about that because that gets thrown around a lot. There's a lot of bad creative that takes place in WWE from time to time. A lot of bad creative that happens, and I think that 3MB got over. I really believe that they got over, but I think it was terrible writing, terrible creative for that point in time. One of the better entertaining factions, though, but it was just a weird faction to be set up all the way together. That's my personal take on it. So he says, and I quote, "I would say Drew is one of the greatest professional wrestlers in the world, bar none. He can do everything so athletics. His promos, especially now, the Drew that we're seeing now, incredible. When I was a part of FCW, Drew was on SmackDown as the chosen one. Like, I would look at Drew and be like, man, if only I could get to Drew's level. Drew always been the man, even in 3MB. Like, sometimes he would have the odd singles match and just tear the place down like it was just frustrated, like he was just frustrated at it, and he would just put on a crazy performance. 10 years after the initial departure of Mahal was released along with several other superstars by WWE earlier in this month. That's what we were talking about being released earlier. Mahal was one of those people that got released. Whether it's good or whether it's bad, he had a great run, great talent. I don't think that they booked him right. I don't think that they used him right or used him properly. But then again, that could be due to his persona, his personality, how he viewed the business, how he wanted the business to be run with him. And like I said, this was an open thing that was done April 28th, yesterday morning, around 6 a.m. is when it came out. And it's right there on WrestlingIncorporated.com with Jinder Mahal's picture right behind a WWE poster center there for a signing or for something that he was going on. It's a white billboard is what's behind him with Nexon or Exxon up on the top of it. So, and they're absolutely telling the truth about Jinder Mahal. I think that his run in WWE has been great. I think that he's done great things for the business there, but I think that he could use his talent. Other people could use his talents, and he could be a big asset to other companies currently. And I'm not talking about AEW. Everybody goes to AEW from WWE because they've got the big money. But I'm saying a smaller promotion, somebody that could use some extra talent like the National Wrestling Alliance. Hey, speaking of the National Wrestling Alliance, we actually went to NWA JCP Harriman Heat 2 this week, and it was a great show, wonderful show. It was greatly put on, great production that happened, that was taking place a lot of good stuff happened there, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Let's stay on topic. Well, I got my little rabbit trail going on the NWA now, but I think Jinder Mahal could be a great asset to the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. I think that he could do some wonderful things there and hold that 10 pounds of gold eventually, and actually could be maybe the person that takes it away from EC3 if they give him the chance and give him the opportunity to do so. Now, I don't know if they will. I really don't know if they're going to be able to do that, or if they're going to try to do that, or if they're even interested in doing that. But I'm going to tell you, man, it would definitely be a sight to see nonetheless, to make sure that Jinder Mahal has a home in the National Wrestling Alliance. And I mean, that would be one of the titles that has evaded him to a certain standard so far. So, you know, if he could get that and be that and do that and be that person in the National Wrestling Alliance, it would be a great spot for him, great stepping stone, and also give him a better platform with better people to be able to view. Now, I'm not saying nothing wrong with WWE. Listen, WWE is the biggest game in town. They have the biggest platform available. But what I'm saying is he's already bringing a following with him. He's already got a fan base. He's already got stuff that is set in motion for him. He definitely could move on to somebody like the National Wrestling Alliance, not only do great business with them and be a great asset to them in the National Wrestling Alliance, but he could be a great asset for himself in the National Wrestling Alliance too. So, hey, I've got to say it, Billy Corgan, if you're listening, you got some free agents that are available. Sign these bad boys, get these boogers up there, and get them working for you. I mean, these professional wrestlers deserve a spot in the National Wrestling Alliance. They are must-see TV. They are people that these other promotions really didn't give them a chance to shine. And look, dude, I know everybody's got personality. Everybody's got a conflict. Everybody's got something that they're dealing with and something that's going on. But these guys definitely deserve a shot in the National Wrestling Alliance. And Billy, I think it would be a smart move for you to jump on this now while you have the opportunity to do it. Especially with all the releases that has taken place. This should be a great spot for you. Joe Kazana, if you guys are out there, you guys are living in the TC area, Joe Kazana, you should jump on this too, man. You could get some of these people to come and work for you and do some good stuff with you as well. So there'd be something great for the National Wrestling Alliance, something great for the home office, and something great for each and everybody that's in the business to be a part of. So let's move on, guys. We've got to move on. So we were talking about Harriman Heat there. We were talking about the National Wrestling Alliance. We're going to actually jump on that. Let me get right over to their page because there was a lot of stuff that took place at JCP Southeast. Now, me and the evil Spock Bunny, my partner in crime, went down to Harriman Heat 2, and we were actually at Harriman High School in Harriman, Tennessee, and viewed that on the 26th of April, Friday the 26th of April, and we had an excellent time at Harriman Heat 2. There was so much stuff that took place and so much stuff that went on that it was a great time. I actually got to speak to the man himself, Joe Kazana, and he gave me a little backstory about some of the stuff that's been taking place between him and Austin Idol and the Golden Boy, and you know, he's looking for revenge against Austin Idol. He told me that he's definitely going to be looking to get the tag team titles for his sons. He's going to be trying to help them get the tag team titles, the Country Gentlemen, AJ and Casey Kazana, try to put them over against Blunt Force Trauma. And he said that Aaron Stevens posed the biggest threat of his career and their career from capturing those titles. And he hopes that they get on the ball and get in. I told him I hope they did too. And I actually got a chance to speak to AJ and Casey Kazana both. Told them both I hope that they win the titles pretty soon, and I absolutely do. I want them to win those tag team titles more than anything in the world. And the only other tag team that I think that should have a shot at that is the Brothers of Funstruction. And I might be the only man in the world that loves the Brothers of Funstruction, but my God, do I love the Brothers of Funstruction. Now, they weren't at Harriman Heat, unfortunately, but the Kazana boys were. So we got to see AJ and Casey Kazana in action against the Southern Six, Alex Taylor, and none other than Kerry Morton from the Southern Six. And I'm telling you, they threw those boys all over the ring. Kerry Morton took a huge bump. I mean, a huge bump. He got thrown from one turnbuckle to the other turnbuckle, and he definitely came down hard on himself going through there. So it was a great time. We had an excellent time. We got to see the Thrillbilly Silas Mason defend that JCP title that he's got, that World Heavyweight Championship that he's got for JCP. And I'm going to tell you, man, he did a great job. He kind of won that match that he had with Jay Bradley in some peculiar manners. I can't give it all out here. You guys got to check out their Facebook page, and also check out their YouTube page in order to see exactly what happened. And if you just type in the search bar NWA Joe Kazana Promotions -SE, it'll pop up for you to have the National Wrestling Alliance with Joe Kazana Promotions, their logo directly on the top, and it'll show everything that you need to see there. If you guys are going to YouTube to find the National Wrestling Alliance, it's www.youtube.com. And then once you get there, you can go down at the bottom section and search for NWA JCP or Joe Kazana Promotions, and it's at Joe Kazana Promotions 5692 is where you can find that at. And you can see all the stuff that they're putting on YouTube there. They've got a good following that's coming out for them. Man, they had a great show that took place there. And me and the old Miss Spock Bunny are going to be a part of their Sunbright show that's going to be happening. The show down at Sunbright, which is happening May 10th, right there at Sunbright High School in Sunbright, Tennessee. We would love to have each and every one of you guys come out, say hi to us, not only say hi to us, but definitely be able to see some great wrestling, say hi to the wrestlers, buy some merchandise from the National Wrestling Alliance, and definitely be a part of that. And then also June 1st, we're going to be going to Carnes High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's Carnes High School, 27110 Bennington Solway Road in Knoxville, Tennessee. And we're going to be doing NWA Back to the Territories as well. We would love to have each and every one of you guys come out and be a part of that. And hey, we're a part of the Fiat 500 Club, an Aubreth 500 Club. If you guys drive a Fiat 500, an Aubreth 500, or an Aubreth in general, or a Fiat in general, we would love to see you guys come out to the show, be a part of it, do some meet and greet with us. Not only the elusive Rabid Beaver, me and Francesca, my black Aubreth 500, went to the show this past week. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of people show up from the Fiat 500 Club, but my goodness, we would have loved to have each and every one of you guys come out and be there. So if you guys are out there, you got one of those beautiful cars, come do a meet and greet with us. We were there, maybe about an hour and 30 minutes early before the show, and we stayed all through the duration of the show, and then just a little bit after the show, and then got something to eat and headed on home. So you guys had plenty of opportunity to see us, do some meet and greet with us, and talk to us. Hey, man, the deal man, Daddy Deals, was there at Harriman Heat, and he was cutting some deals, baby. He was slicing prices and making people happy is what was going on there. He also did some announcing up on the top with Dr. Tom Pritchard. If you don't know, Dr. Tom is a legend in the business. He was doing some announcing up there, and, man, he had a great time, just a great time there. The building was wonderful. We had front row seats. We got to see each and every wrestler come out, and they all passed us right there where we were sitting. We were sitting on the right-hand side of the ring. If you were viewing it as you were coming in the building, we were on the right-hand side, seats 3 and 4. And we're looking to get some of those front row seats again for the next show, so down at Sunbright. And also back to the territories, we're looking to get our seats there as well for Knoxville, Tennessee. We would love for you guys to come out and be a part of each of those and meet and greet with us and do some good stuff. And as you know, we've got the Wrestle Talk with Rabid Beaver, which is here on both Podbean, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Audible, and anywhere that you can get your podcast, that it's available through any of their services that's offered. But we also have the video cast that goes live on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook Live, YouTube, all those good places. And as you know, it's twitch.tv/RabidBeaver, streamlabs.com/RabidBeaver/home. You can catch us on streamelements.com/RabidBeaver/home. You guys can catch us out there on youtube.com/ or at Nerdy Gaming with a Rabid Beav, BEAV. And that is going to be 132 there at the end of that. That's how you guys can catch us right there on YouTube. So if you guys are interested in following us there, that's the best place that you guys can follow us. Hey, and we got merchandise available as well on our Streamlabs site. You can catch it at www.streamlabs.com/RabidBeaver/merch. And a Rabid Beaver is spelled ARABBID, the number 3 AVER is how you spell it. And that's how we've been spelling it for a long time. There's an extra B in it. And yes, I know there is an extra B in it. I do know that. But it's all together. But yeah, we had a lot of fun at Harriman. We had a lot of fun at JCP. We had a lot of fun at Championship One Wrestling this past week. We've just done a lot of stuff. So Championship One Wrestling, if you guys don't know, is located at 130 McDonald School Road in McDonald, Tennessee. They are every Saturday. The doors are open. Doors open at 7 p.m. The bell time is going to be 8. It's always $8 at the door for you guys. They had a heck of a show that was going down. The demented Dalton Blake, the Professor of Pain, took on none other than Xavier Gray in a match for $10,000 this past week that was there. And got to tell you, it's just a excellent time. I can't kind of give away all that stuff. You guys can catch it on our video cast as we just plugged for you guys. You can catch that Saturday morning, 10 a.m. right there on one of those channels that I plugged for you. The Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. Facebook Live at Joseph D. Hughes. I forgot to mention that. So you guys can catch us right there. That's JOSEPH space the letter D space the spelling of Hughes, HUGHES. That's how you guys catch it right there. But you can catch the recap, the replay and review of Championship One Wrestling right there. And each and every week we come out, we try to have a good podcast, a good broadcast, and something good going for you guys. So it's something great that we love to do for you guys. And like I said, we got on NWA somehow, some way out of this. But that's what we're doing, guys. We're just having some fun talking about wrestling. So, of course, with all the stuff that's taken place here recently, you got to mention Adam Copeland, or AKA Edge, formerly known as Edge. He was talking about his current run in pro wrestling, which was done by Julian D. Alessandro as well, April 28th, and it was 10:30 p.m. Eastern time that he wrote this article. He was talking about Adam Copeland and the differences in his runs between WWE, AEW, and how he feels on those runs. And you can catch it right there directly at WrestlingInc.com is where you guys want to go to see that. It's got a picture of him holding the AEW microphone pointing into the crowd at somebody. So it's definitely a good time for you guys. And it says, quote, on Mostly Sports, quote, which was where they gathered this from, Adam Copeland was asked about the differences between his initial run in WWE as Edge compared to his current run in AEW, to which Copeland replied, I've lived a lot more life, and as strange as that sounds, it actually does add to your utility belt out there. As a performer, any kind of performer, whether it's a musician or writing music, whether it's an actor, and they've got to dip into some place of their actual self to pull the character off. It's the same with wrestling. I did think over 100 episodes of television in that time that I was retired. So you kind of try to pull those things back with you. And I think that's the biggest difference now. Copeland also provided insight about how he feels mentally at this stage in his career, while continuing to explain that he doesn't want to overstay his welcome in AEW and is thinking about how long he can keep wrestling. I might not be as fast as I used to be, quote, is what he says, but I feel like I'm mentally and I'm better than I've ever been. I feel like mentally I'm better than I've ever been, end quote. I'm also the realist, and I don't want to be that guy that sticks around to the point where a young guy looks at the sheet and goes, okay, I got to wrestle him tonight. I don't want to be that guy, right? I want young guys to still be excited if they're going to hop in the ring with me. So I figured maybe I got a year, maybe a year and a half left, give or take. Copeland's most recent match was at AEW Dynamite, where he teamed with Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe in a losing effort to House of Black. And that was absolutely true. He did lose to the House of Black at his last show, everything that was going on with his last show. Copeland's had a great career through WWE. One of the most memorable performers in my time, and in my time period that I can remember, with his time with Edge and Christian, or the Brood, if you remember the Brood whenever he first started. That was some of the most memorable stuff in my mind that I can remember of him. Of course, his solo stuff, when his solo career took off, he was great as a solo wrestler as well. He was golden, great on the mic, great as a performer, great to run his business and run everything as he needed it to be and see fit. And they also did a great job with creative for him, trying to help him out. And I think that's the biggest difference. Is his booker was good, his talent was good, his credibility was good. Everything he did was good inside the wrestling ring, and it made a big difference on his life, made a big difference inside the business. And now that he's at that point in his life where he's a little bit older, I think that Adam Copeland has had a great run with AEW as it seems fit, but I don't think he's ready to retire just yet. Even though he's talking about it, I think that he's got a lot more to give to the business, a lot more in his tank that he can go out there and perform with and do and have a great time with. And, just a perfect time for him. That's one of the biggest things that we can say about Edge. He was always ready and he was always willing to do anything and put his body on the line and be in a spot where he could do that. So moving on, though, Tony Schiavone looks back on WCW, putting the world title on David Arquette. That's by P.T. Williams. So, we all know about the debacle that happened with David Arquette winning that WCW title way, way before he was even ready to be a wrestler, way before WCW was well, that was at the end of the run of WCW, but it was way before he was actually known as a wrestler and being a good wrestler. And it really tarnished his name in professional wrestling. It tarnished the wrestling business to a certain point. And I hate to say that, especially as a wrestling snob and as a wrestling purist, but looking back, that was one of the biggest moments that people looked at WCW, especially when they were trying to get funding from other people besides Time Warner to go, hey, I think your promotion's a joke, and I don't think that we can do it because of how you're treating the belt and how you're treating things. See, wrestling is a prestigious business. If you've got the belt, it's supposed to mean something. If you can't wrestle your way out of a paper bag, you don't deserve that belt. But in the same aspect, I know we've talked about it many times before about DDP and Dusty Rhodes. But if you can't see yourself being the world champion, you don't deserve to be in the business. That's all there is to it. You've got to see something in yourself. You've got to do something for yourself that puts that fire under your butt to do something. So Tony Schiavone looks back on WCW putting the world title on David Arquette. Wrestling is an entertainment form rife with ridiculous moments. So when something elicits the degree of groans as David Arquette winning the WCW championship, it really makes you take notice. But that's exactly what happened on April 26, 2000, WCW's Nitro. It was oversimplifying things to say that the moment single-handedly tanked. It single-handedly tanked WCW. I mean, it really tanked WCW. But it often gets scapegoated as that, likely because it drew the most publicity, but that was the point of the stunt in the first place. It absolutely was a stunt, but David Arquette has made up for it in previous years, actually going out on the road, becoming a wrestler, running the indie circuit, doing some good things, having a spot in AEW there for a while. He said, quote, "We would have never had Courtney Cox on our show," Tony Schiavone recalled on, quote, "What Happened When." We would have never had Kurt Russell on our show. Kurt Russell did an appearance on the show where Arquette, quote, Arquette, was holding onto the belt, and he just walked by and laughed at him. It gave us a lot of exposure. Most fans know Vince Russo was the man shaping WCW's direction during that time, for better or worse, and ultimately he bore the weight of the decision to put the WCW's highest prize on an actor. But Schiavone said he played a hand in it as well. So, quote, Schiavone said that he was playing a, quote, hand in it as well. I'm not going to take complete blame for this, but I was in the conversation. Schiavone recalled Vince Russo had concluded a meeting, and he said, quote, "So what do you think of the show?" Question mark. I went, "It's okay." He says, there's anything we should do different. Is there anything we should do different? But he didn't say, is there? He said, there anything we should do different? Question mark. I said, no, I think it's good. But there is one thing you might want to consider. And he looks at me and we stared at each other. And he says, "You're trying to tell me that maybe we should put Arquette over?" I went, "Well, it certainly would give us a lot of exposure." And he said, "That's a pretty good idea." So that's kind of how it happened. Arquette would return to wrestling nearly 20 years later for the run on the Indies, documented in his film, You Can't Kill David Arquette, which is absolutely true. He did that. And you can definitely quote the article that was taking place from What Happened When with HT and Wrestling Incorporated for the transcription right there. You can see it. But David Arquette did return to wrestling, and he returned fierce. I mean, he went out there and sought the help of DDP, if you haven't watched it, and definitely tried to make himself known and got himself back into the indie circuit and got himself booked and was starting to win matches and gain traction and gain back the epitome of being a wrestler instead of an actor. And he did a good job with it.
And if you don't know, he's definitely somebody that you want to go see if you have the opportunity to do that. David Arquette can definitely wrestle now. It's not just a joke anymore. It's not just a game with him anymore. It's something that he does for himself and to help support himself and to keep him up. Some people say it was a publicity stunt for him to get back into wrestling, but I really don't think it was a publicity stunt for him to get back into wrestling. I think that he realized the damage he did to his body. He realized the damage that he did to wrestling, and he wanted to make it up to the wrestling business in general. Now, for better or for worse, they mentioned Vince Russo here inside this, and I don't care how you feel about Vince Russo. Vince Russo has his place in wrestling history. Vince, if you're listening to this, I'm not trying to shit on you. Please don't take it that way. I'm sorry. If it comes off that way, I do apologize, but that's just not how we're going with this direction. So, Vince, I'm just going to say it. I think it was one of the worst moves you made in WCW. Yeah, it gave you the exposure. Yeah, it did some stuff, but you had some other stuff during that time period that actually was a lot better. Like the Karl Malone, Dennis Rodman thing. You actually could have made some money with that, some more money with that if you would have ran that angle a couple more times and let it run through. I think that David Arquette was just an unbelievable champion. Like, he was unbelievable. Couldn't believe that he could be the champion. Not that he was unbelievable as in, oh, it's unbelievable. It's awesome that he's a champion. It was just an unbelievable angle. And nobody really got it. That was the other thing is nobody, especially your hardcore fan base, they were looking for somebody like Roddy Piper or, Double J to take that title back, or they were looking for Hulk Hogan to get that title back, or DDP to win that title. But you put it on David Arquette. What were you thinking? And look, that's one of those things that we talk about in wrestling where you look back and you go, that was pretty bad for the business. So Scott D'Amore is one of those other guys. Now Scott, I know you personally. I don't mean this in any harm. I think that you rode the flagship out for TNA and for Impact Wrestling during some of the roughest years, and you were definitely part of TNA as one of the best promoters TNA had, one of the best management members that TNA had. But you went through some stuff, especially after the Spike years. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why you guys wanted to move away from Spike. I don't know if it was a contract obligations between certain performers and certain talent or what. But something happened where you guys moved away from Spike, and that's really where you put the nail in your coffin. And, man, you tried so hard to bring that company back around and do some good things for that company. And Scott, I've got to give you credit for that because you did set the sails right and put it back in the right direction. And you tried to make it work from that debacle that Dixie Carter and everybody had during that time period. Hulk Hogan, all of them had. No offense, Terry Bollea. I know that you had an ironclad contract and you went to court several times during that time period with TNA over different things. And I'm not trying to get into that. I'm not trying to slander anybody here, but I'm just saying that, you did try to set that sail right, Scott D'Amore. And I think that was the problem is WCW, after they let that ship sail, they couldn't bring it back. They couldn't bring it back home because you really took the way that the brand was made and you made it even more of a laughing stock than what it already was. Do I think all the Vince Russo stuff was bad? No, I liked some of the new blood stuff that Vince Russo did in WCW. It was actually some of the more entertaining stuff that happened in WCW. But like I said, you can only do so much with what you're given and as you're given it and as you're taking it. And that makes a big difference on the wrestling business directly. So it's something to behold. You just got to give and take and give some more and some more and some more and some more sometimes. And that's what happened there is that was just a debacle that should have probably never taken place, but they were trying to get the exposure from Hollywood. They were trying to get the exposure from the big movie companies to actually step in and say, hey, wrestling is profitable. Our wrestlers are profitable. Our movie making ability is profitable. And it just backfired in their face. It was just something that completely backfired in their face. And I don't know. Well, we all know that they never recovered. We all know that WCW never recovered from that. Just like TNA is just now getting to the point that they're starting to recover from everything that happened during that time period. So we'll look back on it one day and we'll see we'll see the difference that it made for TNA. And Scott D'Amore, like I said, I think you did the right thing. You signed some of the right people. I think it was harder for you to sign some people into your promotion because of the limitations that was given to you, especially after, Double J left, the Vampiro stuff. Some of that stuff was just real hard on you and hard on your money as a company. And I think that it really damaged your reputation in a certain degree. But I think that you're going to be back in professional wrestling someday. I hope that you're back in professional wrestling someday. And I hope that it's someday soon, to be honest with you. So let's move on a little bit. So AEW star Kenny Omega gets candid while sharing his thoughts about Roman Reigns. That's done by Kieran Fisher. It's April 28th, 2024, 9:56 a.m. And it's got a picture of none other than Kenny Omega right there pointing at his face. You can see it directly on WrestlingIncorporated.com. Before we get into this, let's talk about Kenny Omega just a little bit. He said a lot of stuff here recently, and, the man is just looking for that fight, that next big fight. And I know that's really what's going on with a lot of the stuff that he says. He's looking for that next big fight that can be it. But I think some of his best work that Kenny Omega did was with Christian for the title, even losing the belt to Christian. I think that was probably his best match I've ever seen publicly. I think he did a great job there. And, man, Kenny Omega, I'm going to give you a shout out on that before we get on this, because you've definitely done the right thing for the wrestling business, trying to keep the wrestling business over. So it says, Tony Khan believed that there's a personal rivalry between AEW and WWE, but one of his EVPs admires the company's the Tribal Chief. Kenny Omega discussed Roman Reigns during a Twitch stream, and he had nothing but positive things to say about the former undisputed WWE Universal Champion. I think he's incredible. I don't think he's boring either, Omega said. I would actually say that I'm pretty jealous because Roman Reigns is presented in the exact same way that I would love to be presented. He's presented as the man who is the champion to have the big matches at their pay-per-views where you're either really cheering for him or you're really cheering for someone else. That's professional wrestling. He's getting to do what I did in New Japan, so I can't be a hater on that. I'm a fan. Reigns has been absent from the WWE television since losing the Undisputed Universal Championship to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. Since then, Jimmy Uso has been booted from the Bloodline, and Tama Tonga has joined the ranks alongside of Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman. Reigns' role in the faction's future is yet to be determined, but he is still in charge as of this writing. Meanwhile, AEW star Omega is out of action with diverticulitis, I believe it was. I believe that he's still out with, diverticulitis, but he'll return to television on the upcoming episode of Dynamite for an on-air segment. It remains to be seen what Kenny Omega has in store, but he will presumably address the Elite after they fired him from the group and attacked AEW president Tony Khan. So if you guys missed that happened last episode, I believe, of AEW where they attacked Tony Khan, and they made a huge deal out of it all over the place. And that was big news because you definitely did not see that coming. So you remember the angle that they ran with CM Punk? Of course you do. Everybody knows that angle that they've ran with CM Punk. It's overplayed and played out, where they've showed the video now from Wembley, what happened in the back. They showed everything that was going on. And Punk got to defend his side of the story on several different podcasts that he was on, and he really didn't want to talk about it. You could really tell he was kind of standoffish about talking about it, but he still did. He still went out there and he talked about it, and he was able to get his thoughts out there for the world to hear and for the world to see, and it made a big difference there on his mind and on his body and on everything that was going on with them at that time period. So, it's just one of those things. And like I said, I'm really surprised that, especially in this article, that he was praising Roman Reigns, especially for the way that he's been booked. I think that Kenny Omega is that guy. I really believe that Kenny Omega is that guy. He could be the superstar, the next superstar of the generations, and he could move himself forward and move himself up in the rankings of pro wrestling, all the way around. It doesn't matter where he goes. I mean, he's already a big star overseas. He's already a star in the United States, but I mean, he could go into some other promotions and really help them out. and I hate to do this again, but I'm going to do it. National Wrestling Alliance, knock, knock, knock. If he's on your door, baby, if they release him, if they absolutely fire him, if they get rid of him, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? You got your finger up your butt. You don't need to have your finger up your butt. You need to be getting on the ball, especially with somebody of the talent of Kenny Omega. For crying out loud, the dude is going to sell places out. So, I know I cry about the National Wrestling Alliance a lot, guys, but I love the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm a wrestling snob. I grew up AWA, NWA, WWF, WWF. Once it changed its name, Mid-South, all of it, So I got to watch a lot of that stuff from that time period, and it was very impressive to say the least. So I've got to say that first and foremost is, if anybody deserves to be put in those positions, it's the two people that I've already named today. So you guys can rerun that and check that back to see exactly what I've said and what I've done. And I'm telling you the truth, and I'm telling you the truth. Jinder Mahal and now Kenny Omega. Those are two stars that deserve to be there. I think Kenny Omega is still under contract, even though they said that they fired him. I still think he's under contract with AEW. It's yet to be seen. And then Matt Cardona is still a free agent too. Speaking of firings and stuff, I remember that Matt Cardona was on a recent episode of AEW, and he addressed that. He addressed that a couple weeks back, talking about how he was still a free agent and he's still looking to take bookings and do some good stuff for the world of professional wrestling. And I really think he did. I think he took off in professional wrestling and has done a great job with it. I'd like to see more of him in the NWA, more of the NWA use Matt Cardona and use him properly. I'd also like to see more of Trevor Murdoch, to really be honest with you, in the NWA now that we're back on the subject. I like Trevor Murdoch. I think he's a good wrestler. I just don't think that the other promotions had enough time for him and enough patience for him. But I think he's a great wrestler, and I think that he deserves to be up there in the top tier of wrestlers that's out there today. Thrillbilly Silas Mason is another one I'd like to see win that World Heavyweight Championship eventually. I think he could carry it, especially with the Southern Six at his side. Alex Taylor and none other than Kerry Morton and Ricky Morton, of course, guiding them, giving them the toolage of everything that is going on in the professional wrestling business today. It would be a sight to see for them to do that. And like I said, we just made our way in a big old vicious circle here. Right back to the National Wrestling Alliance. Somehow, some way, it always happens. And but it does. It always happens. So let me head on out now. I'll tell you what exactly is going to go on. Let me hop over here on Facebook, and I'll give you some great places to visit if you guys are in Tennessee looking for some great wrestling that's going to be taking place and going on. First and foremost, we've already mentioned Joe Kazana Promotion. So the showdown at Sunbright, which is going to be taken at May 10th in Sunbright, Tennessee, guys. That's going to be at Sunbright High School, 205 Burville Road, Sunbright, Tennessee. The Dane event, Jax Dane is going to be there. The Stu Crew is going to be there. Greta Von Fleet is going to be there. I mean, there's so many people going to be there. Sal the Pal is going to be there. The Weaver and the Pain's going to be there. The Heat Seekers are going to be there. The Country Gentleman's going to be there. Silas Mason, the Thrillbilly, is going to be there. Tyler Shoup, train harder, baby. Train harder. He's going to be there. Chris Silvio is going to be there, and many, many more that we're not naming. They're going to be there. The door is going to open at 6 p.m. The bell time is going to be at 7 p.m. The proceeds are going to be to benefit Sunbright High School Athletics. Tickets are available at the door the night of the event. Ringside is going to be $15. General admission is going to be $10. Grades K through 12 is going to be $5. Kids 4 and under are free with a paid adult. They have to have a paid adult, guys. That is one of the things that has to happen directly there. The card is subject to change, and you just got to know that up front. So some things may happen in professional wrestling. Some people may get hurt, but as of right now, that's what they've got scheduled out for Friday, May the 10th, Sunbright High School, Sunbright, Tennessee, and we're definitely going to be going and checking that out. And like I told you, I got a chance to speak to Joe Kazana. Joe Kazana was the man this past week, talking about a bunch of good stuff, and I really enjoyed my time with him. I hope that I could one day hopefully get him on the show, hopefully get him here so that he could talk a little bit back and forth with me, and we could spitball a little bit. Wouldn't you say, baby? Wouldn't that be a good thing to have somebody like that come on in and talk with me about the NWA? She says it would be very much so good. So that would be a great thing to do. So he's got that's going on. We got back to the territories that's going on. We talked about that June 1st. So it's going to be June 1st at Carnes High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's 2710 Bynington Solway Road is where that's going to be at. And they've got a bunch of people scheduled to be there. Aaron Stevens is going to be there. Of course, Trevor Murdoch is going to be there. EC3 is supposed to be there. The Slime Balls are supposed to be there. The Page sisters, Kinsey and Kylie Page, are scheduled to be there. Natalia Markova and Brian Idol are scheduled to be there. Of course, the Southern Six, Carrie Morton, Thrillbilly Silas Mason, and Alex Taylor are supposed to be there. Joe Alonso is scheduled to be there. The Country Gentlemen are scheduled to be there. And many, 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 many more people are supposed to be there. I believe Slade is supposed to be there too, if I'm not mistaken. And if I am, I apologize, National Wrestling Alliance. But we would love to see the Spectaculars and Slade be there. The Spectaculars 2.0 would be a great see. Rush Freeman, Rolando Freeman, and Slade make for interesting television each and every time that they're on television. Got to give them a shout out, guys. Reached out to Rush Freeman a couple weeks ago, and he talked to me for a long time after the NWA live stream that they did. Rush was such a nice guy, such a great person, and I'm very grateful that he took the time out of his day to talk to me, personally. So Rush Freeman, thank you so much for that, coming in and talking to me and letting me know about how things are going in the National Wrestling Alliance. I would like to see you guys eventually get the U.S. tag titles, but that's another story for another day. We will go on that at a different time. But guys, I'm telling you, there's some great stuff that's happening at NWAJCP. Showdown at Shunbright's going to be taking place. Back to the Territories is going to be next after that June 1st. And then, of course, we can't mention wrestling without talking about some of the big places in Tennessee, like Tennessee Wrestling Alliance out of Pikeville, Tennessee. They've got excellent stuff that goes on. Now, they are on Central Standard Time, so if you visit them, they'll tell you that the doors are going to be opening at 6 p.m. and the bell time is going to be 7. Well, that, of course, is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But they've got a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. Sometimes they'll tell you the doors open at 6, bell open at 7, but it's always Central Standard Time. You guys definitely want to see it. They're at 97 Tom Pope Road right there in Pikeville, Tennessee. For those of you that are in that area wanting to go out and see some good wrestling, they're open every Saturday, guys, right there for them. And then, of course, TWA Alcoa, if you guys are in the Alcoa area, right around there, those guys will be having a great show. It's a free show, actually, May the 4th at 7 p.m. at Jellicoe Veterans Park. So they've got a bunch of people scheduled to be there. Maxwell McAllister scheduled to be there. Big Ticket Joe Gold's going to be there. Bullwhip Ballard is supposed to be there. Jeremy Rage is supposed to be there. The Councilman is coming back. Awesome A is going to be there. Shane Brooks is going to be there. The 865 boys who won the tag team titles here recently in their promotion is going to be there. Josh Bryan's going to be there. Jackson Black, the California Dream, is going to be there, baby. Just to let you know, Chaos is going to be there. Dusty Sharp's going to be there. Jacob Rayner is going to be there. And many, 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 many more people are going to be there at TWA Alcoa, guys. Be a great place for you guys to come and check out some stuff. If you guys are in Georgia, Renegade Championship Wrestling is going to be a great place for you guys to go and view. So I believe that they're going to be doing a show May the 4th as well, 2024. RCW presents the 4th Be With You show is what they're going to be calling it. So they've got a little skit that's on their Facebook page. You can check them out at Renegade Championship Wrestling. On the planet of Murray County at the Battle of the Still Standing Jedi Knight, Chris Kronk defended against Zach Dye and captured the RCW Championship, and the bad guys retained the Tag Team Championship, making now a huge victory for the Renegade Alliance. So they've been talking a whole bunch of smack right there, but they've got a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be going on right there. May the 4th be with you. Of course, the bad guys, Alex Michaels and AMJ, are going to be there. You guys definitely want to see them. Zach Dye versus Jason Hampton is going to be taking place right there as well, guys. So there's a lot that's going on in Renegade Championship Wrestling. You guys definitely want to be there for May the 4th. Now, May the 4th, we are booked. We're going to be doing Pro Wrestling Entertainment. I'll tell you exactly what's going on with that as well. Give me just a second. It's going to be the Strawberry Slam in Portland, Tennessee at Portland High School. I'd love to see you guys come out and be a part of that as well. We are going to be there. Of course, they're going to have a lot of people going to be there as well. The Strawberry Slam is going to be taken Saturday, May 4th. It's going to be on Central Standard Time. The bell time is going to be 7 p.m. The doors are going to be opening at 6. You can get your tickets available at ProWrestlingTix.com or Eventbrite, whichever one you want to go to whenever you get there. They're about $20 a ticket. They are almost completely sold out of ringside seats currently. So you just got to get your tickets early and be available for it. Chris Michaels is going to be there. Big Strong Mims is scheduled to be there. Cody Angle is supposed to be there. Colby Carter is supposed to be there. Chase Stevens is supposed to be there. Magic Jake Dumas is supposed to be there. EC3, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and I believe he's still the Ohio Valley Champion, is supposed to be there. Alex Taylor, who is the current PWE World Heavyweight Champion, is going to be there. And Jay Lethal is also scheduled to be there. Adrian Thomas, I forgot to mention Adrian Thomas. Adrian Thomas is going to be there as well. Also, they're going to be doing a talent evaluation Saturday, May 4th, 2 p.m. at Portland High School, 600 College Street, Portland, Tennessee, to be looking for some wrestlers to be featured for Pro Wrestling Entertainment, X Entertainment, and National Wrestling Alliance. If you guys are interested, some wrestlers that want to be out there and want to get their name out there and want to be a part of it, that is the place where they need to be. Saturday, May the 4th, 2 p.m. They need to sign up. They need to get ProWrestlingMerch.com. Is where they sign up today for the first time ever, for the first opportunity that's available. They'll be doing that scouting with EC3 directly to see if they have somebody special there. So if you guys know anybody who's looking to better themselves, make themselves better, this would be the perfect place for you. If you only had one shot to go and prove that you were the man and prove that you could do it, this is where you want to be. Pro Wrestling Entertainment is a great spot for you guys to do it with as well. Of course, we've got none other than Saul, the Nashville wrestling organization, is a Nashville Wrestling Network, and USWO and Saul, which is normally based out of Nashville, Tennessee, but they're going to be doing a show Saturday, June 1st as well at 7 p.m. at the Tennessee Army National Guard Armory, 2350 Armory Drive, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Of course, LT Falk is going to be there. I mean, what can you say about that? There's going to be a Brood Street fight that's going to be taking place. Judgment versus Cousin Carney is going to be there. Adrian Thomas is going to be there as well. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh there. It was just funny. Brandon Wolf is going to be there. Hot Rod Briggs is going to be there. So many people are going to be there. LT Fox is going to be there. Of course, none other than his manager, Tony Fox, is going to be there. It's going to be brought to you by Advanced Financial, USWO, and Saul. It's going to be holding Fan Appreciation Night that night as well, Saturday, June 1st. Free t-shirt giveaway limited to the first 100 paid admissions. We'll be getting a free t-shirt there, guys. So it's definitely going to be a place where you can be. Tyler Thorne is going to be facing Sean Hurley there for the title unification. So they're going to try to unify the titles there and make it a one title for everything. Of course, Colby Carter, LT Falk is going to be versing Bad Company. 2 referees, USWO tag team titles on the line, guys. USWO tag team titles are going to be on the line. You guys need to be there. It's going to be a great place for you guys. Of course, I mean, we can't talk pro wrestling without talking about Ego Pro. I mean, what are we doing? Why are we even putting this off until now? Ego Pro Wrestling is a great place for you guys. EGO. Let's look them up and see. They're going to be doing a show Saturday, May the 4th as well at the Tennessee Army National Guard Armory in Athens, Tennessee is where they're going to be. Now, that's going to be Eastern Standard Time for you guys that are out there listening, if you guys want to see it. The likes of Robert Blade are going to be taking on The Real Deal Will Still. That's May the 4th, 2044. It's going to be 7:30 p.m. is when they're going to say that you need to be there for everything to start. They've got none other than Tiger Kid taking on California. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out, especially with all the members of California if they're there. Tiger Kid is going to be in some trouble, I predict. Judgment Nightfall and the Young Bloods and the Kingdom of Perfection versus the other section of Judgment Nightfall will be taking place as well. Trevor Adden, Menace, and Aiden Wright. Now, we know Aiden Wright personally. Aiden Wright is a mainstay in Championship One Wrestling, and he is a great wrestler. If you guys have the chance to ever see the Big Brute, the Southern man of brutality himself, Aiden Wright, you definitely need to go out there and see him. He's definitely worth the watch, guys. So he's going to be there Saturday, May 4th at the Athens, Tennessee Army National Guard Armory, 7:30 p.m. Now, guys, if you get off on exit 30, depending on if you're coming north or south, if you're going north, you're going to turn right. If you're coming south, you're going to turn left. You're going to follow it straight for several miles, and the armory is going to be on your left-hand side. If you're coming out of Etowah, 411, and you turn left to get on to Athens Highway there, it's going to be on your right-hand side coming down. So just depending on how you come, that red light, if you're coming either way, if you turn right in front of Food City there, or if you turn left in front of Food City there, it's going to be on your right-hand side there coming out of Etowah. So just to let you know, they still have vendors tables available. If you guys are interested in selling your merchandise, getting stuff, you can book with Ego Pro directly. Just need to get in touch with them at egoprowrestling.com or hit their Facebook page up and let them know. Send them a message, send them something. They have some spots that are still available for Ego Pro Wrestling as well. So I think that about cuts it, baby. You think that does it for the night? You think we've got everything covered that's happening right now? Excellent. So we are currently just a little bit under 55 minutes. So we did almost quite an hour today. So thank you guys, each and every one of you, for coming in. Don't forget to hit those like, follow, subscribe buttons, whether you're on iHeartRadio, Audible, whether you're on Podbean, Buzzsprout, wherever you guys are at, whether you guys are out there in Spotify land, whether you guys are out there in radio world. We would love to have you guys come and listen to us each and every time that we put out one for you guys. I appreciate each and everything that you do. And like I said, we're 100% viewer supported. We're 100% listener supported by people just like you, everyday people just like you. So thank you guys so much. Without you all, this show is not possible to create. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and being here and doing this with us and listening to it and being subscribers to it. Appreciate you guys for being here. And until the next time, you heard it here first on Wrestle Talk. And we will see you soon and hope to see you in Sunbright, Tennessee, or at Championship One Wrestling right there in McDonald, Tennessee. We'd love to see each and every one of you each time we're out. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.